Alright, guys, so we're getting back to this serious stuff here. Um, this is what I try to keep my focus of my videos on. Sometimes I do some various other things just because, you never know when a false flag is going to pop off, or, some kind of new technology is going to come out to get used for evil purposes or something. But this is my thing right here. Right, UN, Agenda 21, sustained development, all that stuff. This is what my channel is primarily about. In case you guys hadn't noticed, um, but there's a lot of other things that are obviously going to be pertinent to the freedom of Americans, which I will cover from time to time. And I actually hadn't heard of this story. I hadn't followed it. But this is actually a really big deal, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew about this and can spread this around so people know what the hell these United Nations people are doing. And that's part of the reason I put up that link to that 24-hour live streaming United Nations YouTube channel, because you never know what they're going to put up there. I think a lot of it's going to be propaganda, but you never know. But so there's a secret probe of a top UN official completed, and this is over a patent scandal, right? A patent scandal. Anything that has to do with patent scandal is probably going to be a really big deal. United Nations investigators have concluded a long and secretive probe into charges that the head of the UN's World Intellectual Property Organization ordered illegal break-ins of the offices of his own staffers, who he suspected had written anonymous letters against him. What the watchdogs decided at the end of their 9-month investigation into the alleged actions back in 2008 of Francis Gurry, Director General of the Geneva-based organization known by its acronym as WIPO, is still not known. The Volcker report awaits its reception by the 188 nations, including the United States, who belong to a little-known but important UN body that is responsible for safeguarding and allowing access to the world's patent system, the crown jewels of the 21st century economy, right? Just like the government is sitting there trying to force a backdoor into Apple software, when any idiot out there knows with the brain that they already have hackers, tons of them, working for the White House, that can get into these phones in 10 seconds. Okay? And not only that, as they're showing you right here, they've got access to the world patent system. So let's get real. The US, mind you, is by far the largest contributor to WIPO's patent storehouse. There's a shocker. A spokesperson for the U.S. State Department Wednesday gave guarded confirmation of the probe's completion and declared that the United States strongly supports this investigation and looks forward to learning of its findings. The spokesperson added that the U.S. trusts that the formal recipient of the document, Gabriel Duke, a Colombian diplomat who is the current chair of WIPO's General Assemblies, the organization's chief policy-making body, would review the report and inform member states in an appropriate manner. Whether appropriate means public is another question. Oh yeah, well there's a shocker. Ambassador Duke had not responded to questions about his receipt of the report and what would happen to it next before the story was published. Likewise, Director General Gurry had not responded questions prior to the story's publication about his official rebuttal to the report. The Gurry probe and its outcome promised to bring closure to only one chapter, albeit perhaps the most important and a bizarre saga of controversy that has surrounded WIPO's Director General starting back before his election to office in 2008. So this has been going on for 8 years. It took him 8 years. 8 years to come to a conclusion about this incident. Which means there's a whole bunch of dirty secrets, and they're like, well, we can release them to the public, but let's wait 8 years till we tell them what's going on. Wow. In addition to the alleged break-ins, Guri's tenure in office has included, among other things that ruffle the feathers of important WIPO member states, unannounced WIPO shipments of sophisticated U.S.-made computers and servers to North Korea and Iran, both under UN sanctions at the time for their illegal nuclear bomb-making activities. Y'all hear this? Y'all hear this? The unannounced and apparently impromptu opening by Guri of new patent offices for WIPO in Russia and China. The unprecedented but largely symbolic withholding of U.S. funds for WIPO to protest his treatment of internal whistleblowers who pointed the fingers at his actions. Management practices that failed to include the oversight mechanisms of other UN agencies, and a penchant for keeping member states who supposedly control WIPO in the dark about meetings of top officials. And that's I mean, how can you sum up the United Nations any better than this right here? They want to go around and I think that this great organization, they want to save the planet, they want to give everybody human rights, but really, this is the kind of stuff that they're doing. Now in 2012, an investigative committee picked by Guri himself declared that his computer shipments to North Korea and Iran did not violate the UN sanctions regimes. Oh, so the guy who's getting investigated for shipping computers to North Korea and Iran gets to pick a committee who gets to investigate him, and surprise, surprise, they rule that he didn't violate UN sanctions. Wow. But the committee also said they found inexplicable and unfathomable WIPO decisions to provide the sensitive equipment shipments without informing the UN's committees that monitored sanctions against the two countries. The whistleblowing charges against Guri also hark back indirectly to the long-ago alleged break-ins. They were laid by one of his top deputies, James Pulley, after he blew the whistle in April 2014 on the earlier alleged burglaries and called them violations of national and international law. And this is what the government and the UN do on a regular basis, folks. Don't kid yourself. And this is why whistleblowers, as I show you all the time, end up dead. Because they're doing some crazy stuff. At the time, Pulley called for Guri's suspension pending an independent investigation. Guri denied the charges, calling them, quote-unquote, without foundation. Pulley, the head of WIPO's Innovation and Technology Branch, also laid a still confidential retaliation complaint against Guri. It took another year before the current investigation by UN's Office of Internal Oversight Services in New York got underway, in part because the head of WIPO's own investigation unit reported in part to Guri. There's a big shocker. In fact, Pulley was echoing accusations that had been put forward years earlier by other former WIPO staffers at UN internal justice tribunals, but which had led to no outcome. The accusations had also taken up by Miranda Brown, a former Australian government official who served as a senior advisor to Guri. She reported his alleged role in illegal DNA collections in 2012. Illegal DNA collections. Welcome to the war on the United Nations and sustained development, guys. I mean, you just pretty much going to cover every single thing that right here in this one little document about how completely ridiculous and what a fraud this whole organization is. Brown told Fox News last year that she had been forced to leave WIPO after reporting the alleged actions due to lack of whistleblower protections. Basically, what she said is, hey, they're going to kill me. Y'all are going to help me. So peace. I'm out. Good Lord. Shortly thereafter, the State Department levied its own first ever sanctions on WIPO for a similar reason. The WIPO staffers allegedly victimized by Guri had also left the agency. They became embroiled in the alleged break-ins after anonymous letters circulated that made vague charges of financial impropriety against Guri and his wife in advance of his initial election as WIPO chief. The DNA evidence collected against the staffers formed part of the tests subsequently performed by Swiss police on the staffers. Their diplomatic immunity was temporarily lifted to let that happen, to determine their guilt or innocence in the letter writing episode. They were cleared of being involved. And it was when the staffers discovered mention of the DNA samples and testing paperwork that they said they realized it had come from illegal entry of their offices. In the State Department's spokesman's statement to Fox News this week about the just completed probe, he underlined that the U.S. takes whistleblower protection very seriously. Are you fucking kidding me? Is that not the most ridiculous thing that you've ever fucking heard? Why don't they go tell that to Edward Snowden and Julian Assange and Tony Scalia and all these other people and even LaVoy Finicum and all the people that are standing up for freedom and trying to tell you about truth? They're either on the run or dead. All right, let's go tell that to Bill Cooper, who told you 9/11 was going to happen before it happened. He's dead. What about JFK? Told you about the plot to overthrow the world before it was going to happen. Dead. But they take whistleblowers very seriously. Yeah, they take them very seriously. But it ain't whistleblower protection they take seriously. It's whistleblower execution that they take seriously. Let's not get it twisted. The evidence, the preponderance of evidence to support this is just overwhelming. Okay, so this is just y'all, if anybody hasn't read this article, or if you make videos, or you know people who make videos, y'all need to get somebody to do something better than this that I do and spread it around to the masses. Okay, because with the absolute laughable ridiculousness of what the United Nations and our own U.S. government doing can pretty much be summed up in this one little article. I mean, this is just crazy. Y'all need to pass this around to people, make other people do videos on this, because this thing is just loaded with information. All right, and I gotta tell you guys, a lot of times when I do these videos, I don't sit there and read these whole things. All right, I put a lot of time into making these videos, so a lot of times I'm discovering this stuff right as you're hearing it coming out of my mouth, and I'm just sitting there going, good Lord. So let's just continue. I was going to stop there, but who knows what we're going to uncover next. I mean, we've already got whistleblower execution, DNA samples, patent office stealing. I mean, I don't even know what all else that I've missed in here. I mean, this is just crazy. So let's go ahead and continue. We have been working tirelessly to ensure that United Nations organizations effectively implement and enforce whistleblower protection policy and other transparency and accountability measures. Now, real quick, I still don't understand it. I still think it's bizarre. But in this one particular instance, I will give the United Nations some credit, because for whatever reason, they actually ruled in favor of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. But we all know the UK is not going to drop the charges. We all know that as soon as he steps foot out of that, the Ethiopian embassy or whatever, we all know as soon as he steps foot out of there, he's going to get arrested or probably just straight up executed. And maybe that ruling was just a ploy to get him out of there so they could do that. I don't really know. But I will give him a little teeny tiny smidge of credit. But once again, it's probably just propaganda, and it's probably just a tool to try to lure him out of his hole. So, How true that holds may well depend on what undisclosed investigation of Gurry says and what it recommends may be done as well. Said Pulley to Fox News, "My only goal was that the members of WIPO get the facts so they can decide what to do. If the investigation has now been completed, then it's time to get the report in front of them." So, this is it, guys. When I'm telling y'all, when people are talking to y'all about the United Nations and Agenda 21 and sustained development, right, and they want to tell you that they want to populate the earth and they want to take away your freedoms and they want to put you in these big mega cities and they want to make you stop eating meat and they want to make you start eating bugs and they want to put all sorts of GMOs in your food and all this other crazy stuff, read this article. All right, I'm not even saying go and read and verify all that other stuff. Read this article. Look at all the crazy shit they covered in one article that's going on with our government and the UN. All right, this is an investigation to a dude who basically had the keys to the patent office. So whether you design a new, and most of them are from the U.S. So whether you design the new selfie stick, right, or you design the new software for Apple, there's going to be a patent for it in that office. And this man had the keys to it. So we're talking about trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of information. And they didn't even really delve into much on what the hell these illegal DNA samples were. What the hell is that? Y'all are going to tell me DNA samples? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't come to your house right now. I got to go over and steal somebody's DNA real quick. Like, I don't know. I mean, so that's it, guys. I think there's a video on the page. I'll leave a link so y'all can go and check this out. But y'all need to spread this article around because this pretty much just sums up how absolutely ridiculously corrupt and just that these guys are. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. I will just leave it like that, and I will talk to you guys later. Y'all take care, all right?